Guys, I've got the Vector Optics 3-18 Continental paired with a Fenzy Gen 2 red dot. It's a fantastic combo. Definitely has a few quirks, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But for right now, we got to get to Abe's Awesome Armaments. They're our ammo sponsor for these reviews. Definitely check them out. They're located in New Hampton, New Hampshire. You guys hear that? It's our beacons link. It's down in the description below. It's gonna have all of our current promos and giveaways and any special codes companies have given us to save you guys a little bit of money. All right, sun's coming up. Let's get to Abe's. Welcome back. Today on Double Charlie, we have a double feature. We're gonna take a look at the Vector Continental 3-18 and the Fenzy Gen 2 6 MOA red dot. In full disclosure, we bought the Continental 3-18. We also purchased another scope, their 1-6 second focal plane, with our own money, and we liked them so much that we reached out to Vector to see if they wanted to work with us. Shockingly, they said yes. So they hooked us up with a discount code for you guys. It's gonna be linked down below. Definitely check it out. In addition to that discount code, they hooked us up with a Fenzy Gen 2 red dot to pair with our 3-18 for this review. Specs on the Continental 3-18. This is a 34mm tube with a 50mm objective lens. It's front focal plane and features their VCT-34 reticle. Uses a 0.1mm turret with a pretty good zero stop. It's featuring German shot HT glass, and it comes in at a 29-ounce weight. Additionally, comes with it are rings, sunshade, and additional turret caps if you don't like the style that come on the optic. Let's talk for a minute about what 3-18 really offers you. It seems like a lot, especially for a 5.56 or 6 arc, where you're not trying to push past 1,000 yards in most cases, and even that's a lot for 5.56. 3-18 offers quite a few advantages over LPVOs and other MPVOs in similar magnification ranges. LPVOs lack parallax adjustment. Not having parallax adjustment makes sense on LPVOs because you're typically using them for faster shooting, maybe a little less accurate than some of the higher magnification options. So a parallax adjustment typically isn't needed. And having the ability to adjust the parallax on the Continental 3-18 is a huge benefit. Typically an LPVO will be fixed at about 100 yards for their parallax, so anything closer or further than 100 yards tend to be a little bit off on your parallax. 100-yard parallax you can get by shooting 500 yards, but being able to set your parallax correctly for the distance you're shooting will only allow you to be a better shooter, make better hits, better clarity at those distances. A lot of 2-12s on the market do offer that parallax adjustment. And while they are also a 6x magnification range, they're good, but they're just not quite as flexible. They don't allow you to fill the same needs as a 3-18 does. And then looking at some of the higher end 5-25, 6-36 ranges, these are great, but typically way overkill for a general purpose, all around, do it all style rifle. The 3-18 really offers a do everything magnification range while still remaining practical for most scoped carbine shooters. Some of the things we really liked about the Continental 3-18, 1, the price. It is a fantastic price. 2, very good clear glass. It's bright on cloudy days. It lets a lot of light in with that 50mm front objective. The reticle is very clean and easy to use. Works pretty well on all the magnification ranges. Definitely geared a little bit more towards precision than something more towards quick acquisition and fast firing. Certainly usable on the lower end magnifications, but very, very easy to use on the higher side. The turrets tracked consistently and the rotation indicators were a very nice touch. Zero stop worked perfectly, and the body of the scope felt durable and had a nice finish to it. Coming in at that price point, Vector did have to make some small sacrifices. We found there was a little bit of chromatic aberration, especially when you start to reach those 16 to 18x magnification ranges. It does show a little bit more on camera than we noticed in person, but it was still noticeably there, especially when looking into high contrast areas where, up under this railing or platform area where you can see that it's darker and the light, shadows and the light come together. Definitely notice some of the aberration there. Additionally, in that 16 to 18x magnification range, you start to get a lot less light entering the scope. That's true of all optics. It was just a little bit more noticeable on this one than something maybe 4 or 5 times the price. While the scope isn't radically heavier than others in its magnification range, it is a little on the heavy side. 29 ounces is a lot. It's certainly less noticeable on a well-balanced rifle, but anything that you're trying to keep ultralight, probably want to look at some of the other options they have, just to keep that weight down a little bit lower. And lastly, the other drawback is a slightly tighter field of view at max magnification. Again, certainly usable. You just back it out a little bit. If you stay on that 15 to 16x range, you're gonna get a better image, better clarity, less chromatic aberration anyway. You'll get more light into your optic and you get a higher field of view at those magnification ranges anyway. We're certainly not holding it against the scope. We're just holding it against our unrealistic expectations that every optic should defy physics. Again, this is totally reasonable for a scope, especially at the scope's price point. Typically it's around $750. With some sales and promo codes, I think you can get it down into the $550, $600 range. YouTube really doesn't like when we mention prices, but we think it's really important to be upfront about what the cost of these optics are. Again, we really can't stress enough how fantastic this scope is for the price. It is clear and easy to use. The reticle is great, the turrets are great, the body and build of the scope feel awesome. Lets in a ton of light. We were using it on a variety of guns over the course of reviewing this and just general ownership of it. It initially started as a 22 PRS build. We had it on a 22 LR for 3 or 4 months, and the finesse of that reticle was fantastic for 22 LR. The parallax goes all the way down to 10 yards, making it really, really easy for those close-up shots. Being able to crank it way up to 16 to 18x magnification and having those 0.2 mil stadia lines in the reticle really helped dial in and just use the reticle on the fly without having to redial milling solutions in the turrets. Additionally, the tree reticle was a joy to use, especially in high wind situations. For those of you who are interested, 22 LR at 300 yards is pretty similar to 308 at 1,000 yards. There are obviously differences, but as far as elevation and windage, it's a great way to practice 308 at 1,000 yards. Much cheaper, you can practice all of your barricade and positional work, your wind holds, shooting 22 LR at 300 yards. We also used it on a PWS 16-inch rifle. We recently reviewed that. You can check out that video and see some of it in action there. Most of its time has been spent on a 14.5 Daniel Defense 5.56 upper. And again, it really fit that do it all, cover everything I could ever want philosophy. Even at 25 yards, there's times where you have to make high precision shots with 5.56. Some of the matches we shoot, we'll shoot something as small as a clay or partially obscured clay at 7 to 10 yards, all the way up to 25, 30, 40, 50 yards. Most of the time you think, yeah, I'll just use a red dot for those ranges or a red dot magnifier, but having the ability to crank into 10-12x at 30 yards and make a extremely precise shot. It's just something special about that. Again, this reticle really allows for that extreme fine precision, especially in a gas gun. That's 200 yards isn't highly precise, but to be hitting the same consistent spot on a target over and over at 200 yards while holding for wind definitely shows you how well designed this reticle is. Additionally, we have no problem making strong hits with some better ammo. So 75 grain, 77 grain out at 650, 700 yards. No issues there. The finer stadia lines really help with that, and Vector was smart in how they designed the sizing and width of these stadia line. You don't notice them on the lower end magnification, and they're not distracting because of that. But when you do dial up, you start getting into those higher magnification ranges, you can start to really utilize that reticle to make fine adjustments. We tend to not dial our turrets unless we're doing high precision, known distance, long range shots. A lot of the shooting we do is, that target's 550 yards. We're gonna hold 3.2, 3.3 mils, fire the shot, a little bit off target, make an adjustment using the reticle, send another shot, good impact. Moving over to the Fenzy Gen 2 6 MOA red dot, the version we received is the SCRD76. 6 MOA red dot, featuring a 19 by 28 millimeter window, made of 7075 T6 aluminum, has a side load battery tray, comes in at 1.4 ounces, and uses their MOJ footprint, basically an RMR cut footprint. The version we received did not feature shake awake, but I do believe they have some alternatives out there that do utilize that shake awake feature. Talking about the Fenzy Gen 2 red dot, we definitely want to look at it in two categories. One, on a rifle as a backup or pairing with a magnified optic. And two, using it on a pistol. So looking at it paired with a magnified optic on a rifle. We used it at the 12 o'clock position on top of a Badger 1.7 mount. And pairing it with the 3-18 made a ton of sense. The red dot is fantastic for close range, awkward angles, and quick acquisition shots, especially if targets are moving or you have a big wide open target, 20, 50 yards, and you just need to rip some rounds out. It adds almost no weight, and the large window and large dot are far easier to acquire than some of the 1 or 2 MOA offerings. It's an awesome red dot to complement a precision optic. Basically, it covers all of the scenarios and situations that the magnified optic is lacking in. We tend to mount red dots in the 12 o'clock position because we use night vision quite a bit. And we find that it's a lot easier to use a 12 o'clock than a offset 45.
Beep, that's my purse, I don't know you.
Forgot ears. This red dot is absolutely designed for competition use. It's a big window with a fast dot, and it's very easy to pick up. It's got clean tracking under recoil and excellent visibility. The manual controls make sense for matches and competitions, and it held 0 reliably on the slides. We used it on a Shadow Systems MR920. So we really appreciated the large forgiving window. It made acquiring targets in the dot quite easy. Initially we did struggle a little bit with finding the dot, but after about the first 50 rounds, it became second nature. It features a pretty wide selection of brightness levels, definitely bright enough for every use case we found we needed during the daytime. Even when looking into a low setting sun, the red dot was certainly bright enough to see in highly backlit environments. The housing feels durable while still remaining lightweight, and it really did work well on both platforms, both the pistol and the rifle. Some of the things we thought could be improved with the red dot, we were really bummed, honestly, about the night vision brightness levels. This big clear pane of glass they have out front, their aspheric lens, was fantastic for light transmission. It was very easy to see through. It was bordering on EOTech quality. And if you know anything about shooting under night vision, passive aiming, you know EOTech is king. This honestly wasn't far behind. If Vector could just fix their night vision brightness levels, this would be perfect. We tested the night vision settings in both mixed lighting environments as well as extreme darkness. In mixed lighting, we found that the dot was too dim to even notice on the 2 night vision settings. In the mixed lighting, we did find that if we used the lowest daylight settings, we could often get by. The 6 MOA dot is very big, and it does bloom quite a bit under night vision when using the lowest daylight setting. Definitely needed an illuminator behind it, and at that point you might as well just aim actively and not passively. In a very dark environment, we did find a little easier to pick up the dot under the night vision settings. They were still too dim to be usable though, unfortunately. In both situations, the night vision brightness was too dim and the daylight setting was far too bright. The other thing we think would be a nice touch on the optic would be an auto on feature. We absolutely recognize that this is a competition red dot, and you typically don't need auto on when you're shooting matches because you go up, you check your dot, you turn it on, you load your gun, you put it back in your holster, load and make ready. Part of that is checking to make sure your optic is turned on. We liked the dot so much that we honestly want to use it on more platforms and more scenarios than just competition usage. So having auto on and having those night vision settings fixed, this would probably be my go-to dot, especially at its price point. It comes in, I think it typically comes in right around $200, and I think quite often is on sale for far less than that. And then if you add in any of the discount codes on top of it, this is a fantastic dot for the price. It's just a fantastic dot. Like, honestly, comparing it to the competition, when you look at something like a Holosun comp, this is a third of the price. And Vector has a fantastic warranty on their products. So even if one does get damaged or break somehow, they got you covered. We absolutely underestimated how awesome this dot was going to be on a pistol. After the first 100 or so rounds, it legitimately felt like we couldn't miss. We were shooting A-zone steel and C-zone steel at 7 to 25 yards. And while those are not far distances, we were shooting quite fast and it felt effortless, honestly. I wanted to say we were pleasantly surprised by the Fenzy Gen 2, but honestly, we were blown away. Like, this dot punches so far above its price point. It is just outstanding. It is clear, crisp, easy to use, great light transmission. The 6 MOA dot was easy to pick up, easy to track under recoil. It really did feel effortless to use and shoot quickly and accurately. If Vector could just fix the night vision settings and maybe add an on-off feature to this, I think this is a no-brainer. There's no reason to buy anything else unless they come out with a closed emitter version. The Continental 3-18 continues to surprise us with how much performance it delivers for the money. There really is not any improvements they could continue to make at that price point. Again, we're just talking about some slight tweaks or some chromatic aberration. There's a little bit less light at the higher magnification ranges. But the glass is super crisp, clear, delivers a ton of light. Reticle is fantastic. The turrets are fantastic. The body of the scope is great. Again, I'm hard pressed to come up with a better scope at this price point. The Fenzy Gen 2 is fast, bright, lightweight, and honestly just fun to use on both a pistol and a rifle. If Vector could just improve the night vision settings and then add an auto on feature, this would be the perfect combo. And considering the price, these two optics are already punching well above their weight class. It's a no-brainer if you're looking for a high-performing budget combo. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Huge thanks to Abe's Awesome Armaments for supporting the channel and to Vector for sending us the Frenzy, as well as offering a discount code we can pass on to you guys. Drop your questions below, hit like and subscribe, and let us know what you want to see next. More optics, more guns, pistols, rifles, cannons. Thanks again, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.